different. Like, I am a completely different person than I was in corporate America. And I was able to leave, and I had a multiple six-figure salary, and I had that cushy office, the stability and all of the things, and that life that you're told that you should be living. I knew it wasn't for me, and I was actually able to go and start my own successful business, helping people from all over the world transform their lives, create their own reality. And if I didn't have some form of belief in myself that I could do it, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you.
Welcome to the She Believed She Could podcast. I'm your host, Allison Walsh. Since 2020, this show has inspired thousands of women around the world to believe in themselves and take bold action toward the lives they're meant to live. Each episode brings you powerful conversations and practical strategies to strengthen your mindset, build your confidence and brand, grow your business, and protect your well-being, all while spotlighting stories of women who are making a difference and changing the world in their own way. I am so glad you're here. Now let's get to work.
What if a conversation could save a life? 50% of all mental health illnesses begin by age 14, yet only 1/3 of parents regularly discuss mental health with their children. And for those who suffer, research has shown it can take up to 11 years to get a diagnosis and seek treatment. Advent Health for Children and Heart of Florida United Way are teaming up to change those statistics. We're helping people take pride in caring for their minds by empowering them to join our new movement and be a mind leader. We've created tools and resources to support our community, encourage conversations around mental health, and help shape the next generation of mind leaders. The best part of this movement is that anyone can be a mind leader, and the more people join, the more they can lead others to follow. So with every conversation and every bit of care you put towards your mind, you can be a mind leader too. Learn more and join the movement at beamindleader.com.
After reaching a point where playing small was no longer an option, today's guest made a decision to fully step in to who she was meant to be, and everything changed. She is known as the billion-dollar healer, building a powerful brand rooted in deep transformation, identity work, and helping women unlock their highest level of self-worth and success. Through her work, she's helped women break through limiting beliefs, expand their capacity, and step into lives of alignment, abundance, and impact. Today, we're diving into what it really takes to heal, elevate, and become the version of yourself who can hold more. Please welcome to the show, Tiffany Cohen, who is redefining what it means to heal, grow, and rise into your fullest potential. Now let's get to work. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for being on our show today. Before we jump into all things around mindset, I'd love for the audience to get to know you a little bit better. So would you mind sharing more about yourself?
Sure, Allison. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I'm super excited to be here. So my name's Tiffany Cohen, and I am known as the billion-dollar healer. I am the founder of Spirit and Soul Studio. And basically what I love to do is help people to transform their lives. From my perspective, I look at it from a healing, so subconscious perspective, energetic perspective, and really get to the root causes of the things that actually hold us back in life so that we can really manifest our best lives, create the reality that we actually want to see that feels so good for us. And that's what I love to help people do. That's what we help people do at Spirit and Soul. So the transformations I've seen are absolutely amazing, and it is really just heart-opening work.
I'm so excited about our conversation today. We do talk about mindset quite frequently around here, but I know that this is something that we have to constantly be aware of. Like, this is a lifelong commitment to doing this type of work, to stay out of our own way, because it's so powerful. The words that we tell ourselves, the thoughts we think, what we allow ourselves to believe. But I really want to give you the floor today to help us, right? Like, I mean, the work that you've done, the transformations you've experienced and seen and witnessed too, as a result of people really leaning in to what it is that you teach, I think could benefit every single person that's listening to our show today. So where should we start? So if somebody is listening today and they're like, okay, I hear all the time about how important mindset is. Like, let's go back to basics and start there. And then we can really give the audience a few things that they can do that can help them get hopefully to their next level too.
Yeah. So the first thing that I would say is to know that 95% of your life is actually being lived from your subconscious mind. And to me, that was one of the scariest things that I had ever heard, because that basically means you're like asleep at the wheel. Like you're living 95%. That 95% is a huge number. And so what that means is that underneath the surface, all of your stories, the belief systems, these things that you didn't even realize that they're even going on, things that happened as a kid, they are all actually shaping the life and what you think is possible for yourself. And it's actually kind of frightening when you think about it. However, the first thing that you can start to do to actually counter that is to become aware of yourself. It's to become like aware of what you do, how you show up, your different patterns, what stories you tell yourself about why you think you can't do it, the imposter syndrome, how that shows up, and those types of stories, so that you can see, okay, wait a second, that's actually not true. Right? It's like, because we know logically that these things are not true, but yet there's this storyline that plays in the background, and it is very quiet in the background. And so that will consistently create a ceiling. So the more aware you are of these stories, how you show up, your patterns, the more you can actually stop them.
So I love this because it's like the simplistic aspect of like recognize it, right? We always say like name it to tame it here. Like you have to like be aware of the thing that's going on before you can change anything. So say somebody's listening, they're like, okay, I am aware that I am doing these things, right? That I am my own like self-fulfilling prophecy, and I am capping my own growth or experience or abundance or whatever it is. What do we do to then start to change our trajectory and our reality? Because these aren't just one-time thoughts, right? Like they're very much like ingrained in our brains, and you've got to do some work to kind of like retrain yourself on how to handle this stuff. So what is your advice once you've recognized that this is in fact happening, right? Like acknowledging the problem is half of the battle here, but then what do we do? Like how do we stop it?
Yeah. So this is the work that I help people do through my $1 billion healer method. So what we do is we want to get to the root cause of where this began in the first place, because at some point you told your brain that actual story was safe. And there may have been a time in your life where you needed that safety, right? It could be, that you can't be seen because you grew up in a house where kids should be, not heard or seen, right? Just like go in your room and that's where you stay. And so it was safer for you to do that. If you need to be able to use your voice in your business and you grew up in a house where it's safe to be seen, but not heard, you're going to really have a hard time projecting yourself, showing up in that way. And so we think that just because we're adults now, that we're operating from an adult brain, but in reality, we're operating from that safety that we needed as a child. And so understanding what that root cause is can actually go in, and we can go in through the subconscious mind, really through hypnosis, rapid transformational therapy, and we can go in and actually unlock that root and then let it go and see it through adult eyes, and then truly allow ourselves to step into that adult version of us. It sounds silly to say it, but it's like, it really is the adult version of us, because that little girl, boy version of us, that is the version that's running the show in that particular area. And so all we have to do is just open ourselves up to it and then clear the energy around it. And then you have to then move forward in it. And moving forward in it looks like, like you said, retraining the brain. So that means that the mind loves repetition. Okay. So that means you starting to go forward in what it is that you wanted to shift. So let's say if it was, using your voice, right? We'll continue with this. You want to use your voice. Well, now make sure that you're showing up on Instagram. Make sure that you're making those videos of yourself. Use your voice. And at first it's going to feel really uncomfortable because it's not familiar. The brain loves what is familiar. And so it's going to always try to have you going back to old ways of being. But this is where that training comes in. You have to show it something new. You have to continue to push yourself. Once you show that it's safe to the brain, like it's safe to use my voice. You see, it's easy. I can go on Instagram. All of a sudden the brain's going to be like, okay, yeah, it's safe. We're good. And then it's going to be so much easier. And it is actually simple, but it takes practice. It takes work.
It does. And it's not going to just magically change the next time you're in a moment where it needs to, like to your point, like you have to do the things, like you have to practice using it. Like if you have a live event where you're going to have to use your voice, you've got to be retraining all of that before it's time to do it in the moment, right? Because even when the stakes are
Yeah.
higher, it's going to be harder. So if you can do the things and build that muscle, flex that muscle again, in the direction that you want it to go, like that helps a lot. And I know it sounds maybe simple, but it's harder than it sounds sometimes, right? Like you have to just be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to do the thing and then surround yourself with people like you who can help them do the thing, right? Like by really identifying it. So, do you have any like stories of transformation or maybe things that you've witnessed people doing that have helped them to really unlock and unblock themselves by really taking your advice in this area?
Yeah. So actually I have my own story in this. It was interesting because I kept hitting a block when it came to like like a money ceiling. And I was like, why do I just keep it's okay to have one number, but it's not okay to have another, right? And I'm like, okay, obviously, like I'm catching myself in this. I know that something is there, but I can't get to the bottom of it. And so like, as I started to do the work, I actually did my own method on myself, and this story came up, and it's very interesting. And I would love all the listeners to note this. Like you have these memories that will pop up. They're usually the same memories that pop up in your mind. It could be like while you're driving, while you're in the shower, you have this like random memory from a kid and you're like, where did that come from? Like all of a sudden it just pops up. But what it's trying to do is tell you where there is an energy block, where there's something in your body that you don't really need anymore, an old story, something to let go of. So when they do pop up, that is a good moment to kind of stop and say, like, what did I learn in this moment? Right. And so it was something that this story that I had in my mind of when I was very little, I was probably like 4 years old. I wanted this like little teddy bear, and I had taken it from the store after my mom said no. And, I got to a point where I think in my life, I had to go, she was very upset with me. I had to go back in and I was very embarrassed, and it was this whole thing. And it was like, well, when I go for the things I want, I upset the people around me. Right. And that was a story that I had no idea. Does it make sense? No. Like to my success as an adult? No. But I had this like shame around going for something that I wanted and allowing myself to receive it, to actually have it because it was taken away. Right. So it's this little story that feels very, unrelated. However, it was making me play very small. And so once I unlocked that, I let that go because I'm like, I was age appropriate. I was a child. I was 4 years old. We can let that go now. I blew through that ceiling so fast because I just allowed myself to have it. And it was amazing, amazing. And I was like, this is it's the smallest things. We always think it's the big traumas, the big things that really stand out that you're holding on to in your heart. Right? Like your heart is holding on to them more. But they are shaping you. Maybe they shape you a little, but they don't shape you as much as I think from what I've seen in my experience, these little moments. And it's the little moments that add up over time that perpetuate the same idea, the same story. Like there were other stories that kind of, other moments and memories in my life that kind of told the same story. And so this thread was happening. Yeah. And it didn't allow me to have it. So then you let it go and that's it. It can be that easy.
I love that though. I mean, it's, as you were speaking and sharing that story, I was thinking of some from my childhood. Like I'm very open and honest around the fact that like I know my money mindset and the scarcity that I have like faced and overcome was shaped when I was younger. Like I know that, right? Like I've done enough work in this space to understand like some of those root causes, but it does bring you back. And to your point, so often it's just like highlighted, almost feels like if it's not a big T trauma, then it's not big enough to shape you. And to your point, like it's the little stuff. It's the stories we tell ourselves or that have been told to us. It's the experiences we had that are causing us to play small or to shrink, to be more palatable or comfortable for others. And yet like we're born to do great things in this life and in this world. And if we don't fully unblock ourselves and allow ourselves to like do this type of work, we're only limiting our own potential. And that's not what we're here to do. So, but it's important to do it. So as you've worked with people, do you find that like once they start doing it, then they're able to more easily recognize maybe other places and spaces in their lives where they're doing this? Or like how what's the ripple effect or domino effect from starting to do this?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I had a woman that she had her own business, and, she was really looking to go in for this really big deal. And it almost felt like a daunting task to go for it. And what happened was she, had a lot of these like limiting factors and stories that were playing. And so once we let them go, she had no idea that they were there. And she let them go. And after the session, it was like, everybody always says after a session, like, I feel so much lighter. Oh my God, like bringing this to the surface. Great. From then on, she got that deal. She got another gigantic deal. And then in her own personal life, she actually started losing weight. She started to like let go of all of these, that there was like relationships that she had to like let go of in her life that were holding her back. There were so many little things, and every single one she'd be like, it's from that session. It's from the $1 billion healer session, because I didn't see how I was holding on to this person. I was holding on to the weight, right? And we do that and we don't recognize we're doing it. We have no idea, especially if it's something like weight. We don't recognize that something like weight is actually hanging on to try to make you feel safe, try to make, so you don't feel like you want to be seen, or, it's all these little things that we know better in our logical mind, but we can't actually help it because it's that 95% of the subconscious, everything is living from that subconscious mind, 95% of our lives. So our bodies are always trying to protect us. It thinks it's protecting. It's not. Right? I mean, it is, but it's not. It's
Right.
getting in our way.
Yeah, it is. I mean, our human nature, right? Like fight, flight, or freeze, and just the natural tendency is like, what do we need to do for ourselves to feel safe? But yet, if you don't take the opportunities throughout the course of your lives to really like check yourself, right? Like hold up the mirror, do the work, like work with somebody like you, like have somebody that's helping you work through this stuff. Like you just never know what you could be experiencing or how you could be showing up in a way that is more of a magnet for what you want. So, I mean, you talk a lot about abundance and, just unlocking potential. So, like, can we talk about that too? Because I know we're talking about like removing the limiting beliefs and all of this
Yeah.
and healing, but like, let's talk about like, how do you also attract more of what you want?
Yeah. So I actually have a book coming out at the end of this year, and it's called The Best Life Code. And this is exactly what I talk about. The healing work is profound and necessary. And it also leads to the manifestations, because when we can actually be like, have that lighter energy, and we can let go of the things that energy is in the way of whatever it is that you want. Right. So if like you start to let go of that limiting belief, now there's room for the things that you want to actually come in and for you to open up to receive it, right? It's one thing to want something. It's another thing to let yourself receive it. And so when we manifest something, we have to clear that out, which is part of the code. And then we start to intentionally manifest, which is the fun part, right? Like that's the part where you get to be magnetic. You get to vision and see yourself as this version of you that you can be on some level, right? If you can see it, you can have it. I'm the biggest believer in that. You've already created the vision for it. And what to me, what that means is like you're opening up a timeline to it, right? So you've opened up this higher timeline. Now it's available to you. What do you need to do in order to become that version of yourself? And that version of you, the beauty of it is it already exists within you. It's already there. You just have to let yourself vibrate at that frequency. It's a higher frequency, right? Everything is energy. So when we look at everything as energy, as what it is, we can start to understand what we need to do, what's actually, an anchor to the energy, what feels lighter to the energy, what feels magnetic to it. You can feel into your own energy, which is the most beautiful thing, because then you can feel into that lifetime. What does it feel like? I can hold it in my heart. I can feel into it. And you can actually call it in to you by allowing it, right? Allowing it in and continuing to do the work to vibrate at that frequency. Now, talking about energy and frequency a lot, what does that mean? Right? So, for me, when I look at the lifetime that I truly want, that I've created for myself, I see this version of me that's like excited for life, that feels free, that feels happy. And that I can start to live into because I know what that emotion feels like. I know what it feels like to be free. You felt it before, and you can continuously tap into that by creating it in your life every day. And that to me is the most magnetic thing that you can do for whatever it is you want in life.
What if a conversation could save a life? 50% of all mental health illnesses begin by age 14. Yet only 1/3 of parents regularly discuss mental health with their children. And for those who suffer, research has shown it can take up to 11 years to get a diagnosis and seek treatment. Advent Health for Children and Heart of Florida United Way are teaming up to change those statistics. We're helping people take pride in caring for their minds by empowering them to join our new movement and be a mind leader. We've created tools and resources to support our community, encourage conversations around mental health, and help shape the next generation of mind leaders. The best part of this movement is that anyone can be a mind leader, and the more people join, the more they can lead others to follow. So with every conversation and every bit of care you put towards your mind, you can be a mind leader too. Learn more and join the movement at beamindleader.com.
So powerful. There were some very defining times, especially over the last 5 years specifically, that I had those moments, right? I could feel it. I could see it. I literally would get chills as I would envision what I was doing, how I was receiving what it is that I was asking for. It was unbelievable. And I literally felt like I was a magnet for what I was wanting, but I was so crystal clear on what I wanted the outcome to be. And what happens though, because I'm sure that there's some people that are listening, and I've had these seasons of life too, where I'm just so freaking busy. There's so many things pulling me. There's so much noise. There's so many different ways I could go. How do you help us all just find that quiet time to kind of reconnect with self? Because the other thing that I've had happen is okay, I've manifested, I've done the work, I've gotten what I wanted. And oh my gosh, now I am running 1,000,000 miles an hour. And is this what I really wanted? And do I need to redo that experience? So how do we work through that too? Right? Because there's definitely seasons where I've just been oh, call it in. It's coming. I can feel it. It's already there. I'm speaking it into existence. It's happening. And then there's others where I'm oh my God, do I want anything else? I'm so busy. So let's talk about that too.
Oh my goodness, I know. And so I call this the messy middle. All right. This is where
That's
you
perfect.
receive.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where you receive it. You've done the work. You've received it, called it in, and now it's here. And now there is another version of you that has to be able to keep up with it. And you can, you can because you saw the timeline, right? I always go back to that. If you saw it, you know that you can handle it, right? So you've seen that version. She can handle it. You can handle it. Now it's just figuring it out how to put it into the life that you already have, right? And it does take a little bit of work. It's going to, ask you to get to know yourself in a different way. It does ask you to become someone new. This is a perfect example of messy middle. Last year, I was really going through a lot of transformation in my business. We had a huge growth. I was on so many stages. It was incredible. Such a beautiful year. And there was a moment where I had shown up and it was early on, and I had shown up in one situation, and I just didn't feel comfortable in what I was wearing. And, I looked around and I was I don't fit in here. Right. And immediately the imposter syndrome kicked in. Immediately I was questioning everything about myself, about my worthiness to be in that room, because I was in a room with like multi-millionaire business owners and 7, 8, 9-figure founders. And I was brand new to this game. And I was like, I don't belong here. And that moment shifted though. Like I knew like, okay, I'm in the messy middle here. I have to figure this out. And so what did I do? I hired a stylist. My stylists are the best. They're Detour Boutiques in Sayville, New York. They are absolutely amazing. And they completely transformed me. And through them, I was able to find that confidence. I was able to go in there differently. I showed up differently, but I had to figure it out. Like I had to be in that moment, that messy moment, in order to step into that next level version. Because that next level version of me, she had a different style to her. She had a different confidence and energy to her. And I wasn't living into that. And so note that you have to be in that messy energy in order to understand what it is to be in the next energy. You know what I mean? It's like that contrast. You have to be in the contrast to know what it is on the other side.
Yeah. Well, and good for you for acting on it, right? So again, surrounding yourself with the people that you needed to help you elevate and rise up into that next level version of you. So, and it's important, I
Yeah.
think too, like as we grow and we expand, like, again, it's like making sure you've got the right people around you, because not everybody is going to understand or appreciate your growth or transformation. It might actually like trigger them too. So like, I think that's also something important to just call out for those that are listening. So often, we have conversations in this community around like, because women are building their brands, they're building their businesses, they are doing something different. They're stepping out, they're writing the books, they're speaking on stages, they're launching podcasts, they're, finally betting on themselves. And people can get used to the version of you that you once were, right? And you going and betting on yourself could potentially stir up things where for those that are not doing it and they don't even recognize it. And then they unintentionally try to hold you back, sometimes intentionally, but unintentionally is most of what I see. So how do you help people navigate that too? Because relationships are such a critical part to our joy and our happiness. So how do you help the individuals that you serve as they're unlocking those next levels also navigate, their journey with those that are closest to them?
Yeah. I listen, I've had it happen so many times. And I think that it's probably the most, I would say, most heartbreaking part of it, because you start to realize that, relationships that you once had, they can't stay. And, when we really look at it, it's really law of attraction, right? What brought you together, there was an energy frequency that you were on and that they were on. And we can't fight law of attraction. That's just like The Secret, right? The book, The Secret. And so what brought you together though, as you're doing your work, as you're getting out there and doing your things and living your dream, manifesting your best life, if that person's not doing the same thing, they are no longer vibrating at your frequency. And it doesn't mean that they can't do it. That doesn't mean that they can't get to that energetic level. But they have to be willing to do the work, and they have to be the willing participant. You can't drag somebody along on your journey. And I really, really want to say that for the people that are like trying and hoping and trying to get their friend to, be on their side. It's just, you can't force somebody to do the work. You can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. And so what you can do is just be the light. That's the biggest, best thing that you can do, is just do your thing and know that if they are meant to be on that journey with you, they will. They will. Maybe they'll fall off for a little bit. Maybe they'll come back. Like how many times have you had a friend that fell off and then years later you rekindle that friendship again? I mean, it happens. But you have to be willing to also surrender and let go to it, and that's it. And you just have to, you can't control it. You can't try to control it. You can't try to be a version of you that you once were. Like, why would you want to be? Why would you want to go backwards when you've done all of this work to move forward? That's just people pleasing. And so if somebody else can't hold you in the vision of who you are right now, why do we want them in your life? Why do you want them in your life? Just because you have a history?
Right. Bless and
It's not,
release.
it's,
Bless and release.
yeah, exactly. You can honor though that what came before. Like what I always do is you can't look backwards and like be upset or be mad about it. You have to honor what was there. You have to honor the version of you that was in that friendship, that was in that relationship, but also understand that she grew. and be okay with that.
It is hard though. I think about just a couple, just in my own life, right? Relationships, like dear friendships, right? But that was a decade and a half ago, and I'm a very different person than I was then, right? Love them dearly, but it would be much easier for me to stay that version that I was and play that role I played in their lives for so long. Um, and I've found beautiful new relationships with people that are doing their own work too, right? That are growing, that are committed to whatever's next and are excited about the abundance that exists in our world and just how much potential there is when we truly are aligned, and we're striving for who we know we can be. So, but I love our conversation. I could literally talk to you about this all day.
Me too.
But I'm so excited. You have a book coming out. That's amazing. So I would love for the audience, before we get into the last couple questions, where can they find you, connect with you, learn more about everything that you offer? Because I am sure there are some amazing women that need to do some work that are tuning in right now. Not calling anybody out specifically, but
We all have work to do.
we all have work to do. It is a lifelong process, but where can they
Yes.
find you?
Yeah. So on Instagram, I'm Tiffany Cohen, and also at Spirit and Soul Studio. So Spirit and Soul Studio is really a great place to learn how to intentionally live. So that is really, we make our own products there. We have, these beautiful pens that have crystals in it. Crystals are a stable energy force to our human erratic energy. So when we work with crystals, like I'm like stacked up here, you probably hear them in the microphone. But it's a stable energy force to human erratic energy, amazing for manifesting, healing, anything like that. So our shop really focuses on helping you to create that best life. So definitely follow along. So we always have fun things going on, fun reels. And everything we do is virtual and in person. We're in person in New York, Babylon, Long Island. But you can follow along everything we do. We have Instagram live sales every Monday night. It's just always a great time. But also for your listeners, Allison, I do have a little something for you guys. So if you want to,
let's do
it. So if you want to, actually, I have two little things here. If you want to DM me, follow me, DM me reset, the word reset. I will send you over my subconscious reset guide. And that's really leaning into the first part of the conversation, which is understanding, where those patterns are showing up in your life. It's a really great way for you to start to figure out like, oh, you know what? Maybe I have a sticking point here, right? And it's a great writing exercise to help you to start to understand that a little more. But then I also have a 15% off code for your listeners. If you just use the word billion, you head on over to our website, spiritandsoulstudio.com/Tiffany, and you can sign up for my $1 billion healer session. That really has such beautiful breakthroughs when it comes to getting to the root causes, opening up ceilings. We manifest in the quantum field, which is the field of limitless possibilities and probabilities. And we do that through letting go of those anchors, and you can just soar. It's amazing.
I mean, it sounds incredible.
Work. So I'd love for your listeners.
Pull out my calendar before we get off this recording.
Yes.
I feel like I need to do this right now. But this has been so good. Okay, so we ask everybody that comes on this show 2 questions. The first one being, she believes she could, has a lot of profound meaning in a lot of people's lives, right? It's a very popular quote and it has a lot of power behind it. What is a moment that you reflect back on now where you knew you could and you did?
So I was in corporate America before I owned my own business. And I had this moment where I just I knew the whole time that it wasn't for me, but I had this moment where I knew that I had to change my life, that this was the part of my life that I was so unhappy with. And so I had decided in that moment that I was going to start an entrepreneurial journey. And I went on that journey, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't even know what business I was going to have. Like, I started a food blog that night. So you can see how far I've come at this point. But I went home and started a food blog that night and allowed it to guide me into a place where, I said to myself, I'm out of here in 6 months. And it was 5 years. But in those 5 years, I transformed into someone completely different. Like I am a completely different person than I was in corporate America. And I was able to leave, and I had a multiple 6-figure salary, and I had that cushy office and the stability and all of the things, and that life that you're told that you should be living. And it just what I knew it wasn't for me. And I was actually able to go and start my own successful business, helping people from all over the world transform their lives, create their own reality. And if I didn't have some form of belief in myself that I could do it, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you. I would still be probably crying in my office in corporate America, unhappy, unfulfilled. And so I'm really, really proud of the person that I became and to be sitting here with you today because of it.
I'm proud of you too. So, I mean, it's
Thanks!
yeah. But I think it's these moments, right, where it's like you knew you could feel it. You knew there was something that needed to change. Change is scary. I mean, we can just call it what it is, right? Like anything worthwhile and worth doing is going to be hard as well. Like at least in the beginning to kind of figure it out. Like it's not just going to be like, oh, I want to do this and it's magically all created for me. Like I wish that's how it was, but it's not. But the journey of getting there, right? And like the clarity that comes from action and doing the things and starting the food blog, right? Like I think about how even She Believes She Could started with me like flipping the switch on a microphone 6 years ago yesterday and starting a podcast. I had no idea what it was going to turn into, but I knew what I was doing in that moment wasn't going to get me where I wanted to go. And so I was like, well, this sounds like a good idea in the middle of COVID. So here we are 6 years later, book, community, events, amazing clients, the podcast network, like all of these beautiful things because I was willing to do something differently. Right. And I just want to empower those that are listening. You heard what Tiffany said. You've heard my story a million times. If you've been listening to the show for a while, like this is your signal and sign to say it's time, right? If there's something on your heart or you know you're meant for more, this is your sign. So do the things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think also too, it's going to be scary.
Yeah.
Right. Like we think that it's like, oh, you have to do it scared. On the other side of it, it won't be as scary anymore. But like living outside of your comfort zone is important. That's where the growth happens.
It is. And you build confidence every step of the way. Right. So like then doing the next hard thing doesn't feel as hard because you've done the thing before. Right. And I think that's the other piece to it, that confidence comes from action. It comes from doing. It comes from pushing yourself. It comes from stepping outside your comfort zone. It also comes in the form of borrowed confidence from surrounding yourself with people that can help you do the work that you need to do in order to unlock that next level and allow you to really step into that version of yourself that you want to be. So there's so much that comes from that. So thank you for sharing that with us. And then we love to be inspired and motivated by others. So who is in your world that you are just like lit up about, either somebody you follow on Instagram or, maybe they've got a great show or a book? Like who else should we also be following?
Well, I love Kathleen Cameron. She's one of my favorites. I love her. She's in the manifesting field. She's actually going to be speaking at our conference that we are having on Long Island, June 13th. It's the Unlimited Conference. She's a speaker there, and she's just so transformational. Listen to her podcast. It's called Manifested. It's absolutely one of my favorite podcasts. I love her so much. And the other one I would say is Dan Martell. He is my coach and my business coach, and he is so amazing. He has guided me into such massive success in my business. And I love his book is Buy Back Your Time. I suggest it to everybody. I think it's especially, in the business space, entrepreneurial space, it's so transformative for your business.
He's incredible. Like no joke. And
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I just love the way he's super direct. Everything that he puts out is incredibly valuable. Like I walk away, it doesn't matter if it's a YouTube video or of course the book or any like little nugget on social media. Like it is packed with actionable, practical advice that like you can take and apply immediately. So if you're willing to, right? Like you got to be willing to also apply it. You can consume it all day long, but you got to do the work. So, well, Tiffany, this was amazing. I'm just so grateful for you. We're going to link all of your contact information in the show notes. And I highly encourage anybody that can go to your event, please do. It sounds absolutely Fabulous. So I'm super excited for you and just creating the space, right? To bring people together, to allow transformation to happen in their lives and to really call in everything that they want. So it was so wonderful having you on the show today. Thank you for the work that you do and for being you. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I am so grateful that you are here. As always, please continue the conversation over on Instagram at Allison Walsh, and make sure that you check out all of our freebies. If you scan the QR code, if you're watching on YouTube, or check out the link in the show notes, it will take you to a page full of resources and trainings and things to help you go farther faster. And that is always my intention, is to help you continue to grow. And as always, I believe in you 1000%, and my goal is that you do too. Take care, beautiful. I'll see you next time.